Oh, great. Lost the chat window. Chat window is returned. Let's get the multimeter up. Multimeter up. And here come all the people. Alrighty. Dan, Carl, Aaron, Paul, Hal, Pedro. Pedro, you're on holidays, that's why you're here all the time. Lewis, and Unix Psychopath. Mr. Taylor, Caesar AL. Hello, Caesar AL from Sweden. Haven't seen you before, I don't think. Tails 303, George, and Mr. Rob Brown, of course. Alrighty, we've got a, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a nice 1706. And supposedly this one was in a backpack, and a bit of a recreational fluids explosion occurred in the backpack due to an impact. And now we have to see if we can do anything about it, especially considering it was quite a while ago. So for all we know, we could have an advanced state of drunkenness in this board. You just don't know until we're going to open it up and find out and see if we can render any sort of repair on it. Let's see. Yeah, where's my magnets? Let's have a look. Optical mouse having some trouble there. Alrighty. Out of sync. Frickin' heck. Always. Hey, Paul Baxter. Okay, let's do the usual reset before we start. And people saying I should reboot and stuff like that, it doesn't seem to matter at all. I've tried reboots, I've pretty much done everything. I don't know what it is, but hopefully in future versions it will be rectified. Ask Lewis what tip to use with Hakko micro pencil. I think it's usually the KU or something, isn't it? The KN or K... I can't remember the exact one. And that's with the FM 2032 handset, I believe. I do want to get one, but the expense is a little crazy, and you have to have another workstation for it, like another 951 or a 203 or something like that. There's a small dent on this corner here. Okay. These things are always fun to get open. Especially when they've never really been opened before. Normally I've got a plastic card that I can slip in. As usual, moving the workshop around. Never learn, do I? Dun, dun, dun. Let's trim ourselves a spatula and make it easier. So Rod, yeah, the backups don't really do anything. It still has the same fault, and it just always seems to get rectified after I do a OBS restart. So it's rather peculiar in that sense. Okay, that's what I was waiting for. Trying to get that first little breakthrough. There we go. Hopefully we can just slide it off without losing our fingertips, because it is something that these laptops love doing. Yeah, I don't think this one's been really opened before. First time you encounter this new style of MacBook back panels, It can often take quite a while before you get it off. Invariably, you always get one of the toughest ones your first time around. There we go. We've got stains in there. Oh joy. We've even got some, is that mould? No, it's not. Alright. I don't mind the 1706. At least it does have a separate it does have a separate power. What am I talking about? My goodness. Almost seems like I'm the drunk one today. What I'm trying to say is it does have a separate drive that you can remove. Definitely a little on the drunk side. Yeah, let's get this power disconnected. Greg, Lewis and his contractor woes, that's quite some... Just be careful here not to inadvertently short anything. That's quite some nightmare he's got himself there. Nothing really pleasant to be involved with. What's this, Wayne? What? Well, bought you one. You started the tip shipping from Japan tomorrow. Oh. I'm a Metcal guy, but okay, I have seen the Metcal ones, but yes, I'm definitely the Hakko for now. Wayne, let me just... Can you send me an email, Wayne? There you go. Hey, Steve K and Dr. No. Hey, Lee underscore. You've heard my name from the Rossman. Okay, so you're off to a bad start there already. You would have been pre-indoctrinated with the concept that I write trashy software. The truth is I write software to irritate Mr. Rossman. It's not enough that his contractors drive him insane. I have to also get into his head. I'm going to look over this board, see if there's anything on the top side that's obvious. We can see the streaks of... It looks like it's dribbled in through here. The worst part does seem to be this flex, although the contacts seem okay. If we're lucky, that's just some surface. Hey, JR. Alright. What do you know? The battery says no liquid's been here. I do love how the liquid indicators are completely non-representative. A little bit of something there. Maybe that's a new homebrew building up there. The marker's gone off on there. That's not good because that's yeah, it's not good. Yuck, and there too. Wi-Fi's been hit. Oh dear, that's gonna be fun. Okay, is my... Just checking my microscope, seems to be okay. Alright. Yuck, 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 yep. Alright, this board's got to come out. We're basically going to have to do the old janitor system on it. Give it a good clean. Hope we get lucky. Chances are slim. I suppose it depends what beer it was. If it was something atrocious like Victoria Bitter, then it's doomed. Particularly that it's sitting here in Queensland. Okay, I'll just leave that be. Get all these screws out. I'm a little worried about that Wi-Fi section. If that Wi-Fi section has died, then there's really nothing I can... As far as I'm aware, they're paired to the board. Kind of like the iPhone 6s. And if you lose that pairing, I'm not sure how you can reflash them, if at all. Hey Corey. G'day Michael Kiram, David Blackburn, Mr. Chang, hello, welcome back. Repaired any MacBook damage with body fluids? I have had one that got damaged by blood, but that was interesting. It wasn't a death or an anything like that, but it just was blood though. So it was a little bit of extra precautions on that. How the fire's been? Well, it's apparently calming down a bit. At least that's what I last read. Again, unfortunate, due to where I am, we don't get a lot of fire up here. I mean, other than the everyday Daystar fire that we endure, because we are in a fairly hot, dry region. But in terms of fire like what they've got down south, where people are losing their homes and lives, then no, we don't have anything like that going on up here. Okay, you really need to be a T3, I think, in those. Phillips, T4. Yeah, it's probably not going to be a T4. I got away with it though. Thanks, Wayne. I'll check that once I've finished up here. The main problem I've got right now is yesterday I had to, well, I shouldn't say I had to, but yesterday I opted to give away my workstation computer, the one that I do all my normal administration work on, because I had a client, a good client, and they had a Windows 7 32-bit machine that ran their business. Their business is actually the one that builds all the cupboards and stuff for me. And I tried to get a NUC system to replace it, but I just couldn't get it to work as well as I want. So in the end I relented and just said, look, take my... Oops. I'm trying to get the board out before it's ready. I said, take my HP ProDesk. It was one of those ProDesk 600s, and it was a i3 4160 or something like that. And I dropped a clone of their drive because their drive was failing. Put it onto solid state drive, dropped it into my machine. An hour later, it's all updated, latest drivers, everything like that, and running well again. So as a consequence, I don't have a workstation machine at the moment, other than the 27-inch iMac that I took down. But it's just not the same. I can't work quite so smoothly with that iMac because I'm used to Linux and my Fluxbox setup. It's surprising how inefficient you can be when you don't have your normal setup. It doesn't matter how inherently good or bad your setup is. When you're thrown out of your element, you really slow down. Okay, what am I missing here? Okay. Ah, great. There's a crap ton. Ah, great. The 3215s are damaged. Alright, that's going to be fun. This one's going to need quite a bit of janitorial work. Have you ever been to the USA? If so, do you like the climate there or the climate in Australia? I've never been to the USA, but I effectively live in what you might consider somewhere between a Florida and a Texan climate. I would prefer personally to be a bit cooler. I think my preferred climate was when I was in South Africa. Things were hot in summer, but not crazy so. Oh man, I'll be lucky if this thing even considers booting. Let's get this drive out. Wayne for the tips. Yeah, I think it's one of the K series. They're those fine edge blade, 45-degree bladed ones. I use the JS02 for the FM. What are these? The 2027s or something? Anyway, I use the JS02 because it's a nice versatile tip. It does lack some punch at times because it doesn't have the broad heating element area at the tip. But I can always compensate for that by using some hot air assist. When you have some time, what's your favourite video game to play? Let's see. It's hard to say, but probably the last thing I had any real enjoyment with was Diablo 2 with the Lord of Destruction expansion. Beyond that, I haven't really had anything that truly tickled my fancy in the same way. Oh man, this beer's gone everywhere. Well, at least it didn't touch the ISL. So which board have we got here? Let's try find the secret number. It's probably hidden under there. Let's see, right, you're just back from South Africa. Oh, welcome back. Are you native to South Africa or are you just visiting? Funny, I was over there initially going over there as a web developer. This was back in the mid-90s. And within a couple of days of being there as a web developer, I pretty much realised I was going to be a do a lot of other things type person. And I had a boss that was very good, and he understood my style of doing things, and so he didn't try to micromanage me or anything. He just said, here you go, is your tasks. Okay, we've got an 840 board. He'd say, here you go, this is your tasks, get them done, here's your resources. If you have any troubles, let me know. Otherwise, I just anticipate that you'll get the stuff done. And if you don't, then you'll have to deal with the angry people. And it was great. Loved it. It was a fantastic way of working. It was very exhausting. Traveled all over the place. But yeah, exceptionally enjoyable. Definitely one of the highlights of my working career. Fei Wang, this is a 1706. See, Fei Wang, okay, so is that Chinese? I've got to work on my Mandarin, because I know Ni Hao for now. And I know a lot of other stuff, but I don't really know how to pronounce it. Well, I don't bother to pronounce it, because I mostly read it right now. Okay, so other than scratching my nose, we're going to now do some usual flux and boil, clear up the initial corrosion. Oh, and funny, whereabouts in South Africa are you? Because I was working mostly out of Centurion and Johannesburg. I didn't really do much down the Western Cape or anywhere else. I went over to Namibia a few times, up to Zimbabwe. Didn't get into Mozambique. If you know the Michelangelo Hotel or the Michelangelo Hotel, then that's the group I was working for. Partner has a farm there. Fei Wang, I can read that. That's new. Yes. I can read a few things in Chinese now, but I shouldn't say Chinese. It's actually Mandarin. I'm working my way up. It just takes so long to remember everything. Okay, you're in Pretoria. Yeah, I lived there initially. And then I moved out. I bought a house out in Centurion. I mean, at the time I was there, they were just building the new overpass that went from the M1 that goes from Pretoria to Johannesburg. The one that's near the Air Force Base there, that goes off to Centurion. They were just building that. I think. Or was it that one? I think it was that one. Okay, I've got the wrong temperatures here. I'm getting a little bit... Yes, the writing's Cantonese. Right, got it. Yep. Wait, what did I say? Cantonese? I mean Mandarin. So we're just going to boil away some of this junk. Most likely what we're going to see here is that we're not going to get 20 volts on our input. Hopefully beer doesn't react badly to flux. Hopefully we don't get a bad reaction like drinking beer and then drinking red wine and then drinking some hard spirits and then wondering why you're on the verge of death the next day. Hey Travis. Right, good to know that the characters are the same regardless of the speaking. Ooh, I've never seen that before. What is that? Look, I've never seen this feature on chips before. These little lines here. I have no idea what they're for. My curiosity is going to get the better of me here. Oh, short to ground. Okay, so this is an 840 board. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Let's see. Program. So I tried to set up a mail server on my Synology network attached storage, but was having trouble with the MX records. Do you know how to make them work? So the DNS points to me. You have to do that through your DNS provider, such as GoDaddy or whatever. Okay, so these little things, let's see, U3890. What are you guys? According to the schematic, they're just logic gates, really. Unless I'm looking at the wrong part of the board. It sure looks like the right part to me. Yeah, they're logic gates, but they've got a very strange exposed wire. It's almost like you're seeing the bonding wires, which I can't understand why that would be the case. It's like it's been decapped. No, it's very much like they've been decapped, but oh no, they're actually transparent. That's what it is. There, you can see that they're transparent. Well, I can from the microscope perspective. So you can see the writing on the top, but then the layer that is on the top there, it's transparent, and so these are indeed bonding wires and they're going off to the pads. I don't know why it's done like that, but that is very interesting. Amusingly, if you expose that to too much light, it'll probably make them misbehave. Very common, frustrating, but often missed fault generation system where you have a diode and if it gets exposed to bright light, it will make the board misbehave. It depends on the nature of the light, the nature of the design. Even LEDs can do it. Yeah, they're not supposed to be photosensitive parts though. Like when you look at them straight on, you can barely tell. But as soon as you tilt them up, you can definitely see those bonding wires. But LEDs can be used as photo detectors as well. They don't generate a huge amount of power, but yeah, I've done a couple of projects in the past where I'll use the LED both as a light sensor and a light indicator. Hey Jeff, what's the worst liquid you've seen on a Mac? James, usually on the older things like the A1278s and whatnot, and it's more an accumulation of years of random bits of fluid building up, and then typically finished off by one great big mistake of fluid, one big attack, and so it becomes sort of like a primordial soup. And you always wonder what's going to come crawling out of it, up your nostril and eat your brain. Try to get all these bits and pieces. I don't want to cook those rubber rings though. I almost think I should take those off and put them somewhere safe. Safe. I've been in my containers. There we go. In the past I've had faults get into here with liquid damage, but I think this one might be okay. I'm just sort of tilting it and having a look, and it seems to be alright. This is the sort of time you want to get a deep fry, chip deep fryer and things like that. Fill it up with flux, set it to about 150, and then just dip the boards into it. It really wouldn't work very well, but it's what you want to do sometimes. Oh, that reflowed a bit quick. I wasn't actually meaning to reflow. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Is Mr. Telecom here? Where is Jason? He's finally got his act into gear and started to put up some videos, thankfully. Wow, it does not take much to get these things to float. Oh, that or my hot air station has decided to drift out of calibration, and it's just proceeding to cook everything as if it's hell on earth. Oh, just looking at his video, right, okay. Yeah, he put out 2 videos in 2 days. It was unprecedented. Yeah, I noticed he started giving me a bit of a shout out with the Flex Boardview software. That was nice of him. Where did that liquid come from? Oh no. This could be dead. That's, as far as I can tell, that's a CPU MOSFET. Okay, which one is that? That's between... Okay, it's on the right hand side. Go back to the schematic. Wrong window. Okay, that's this one. Use 7220. So it's phase 2. Yeah. If we're really unlucky, in other words normally unlucky, we may have gotten 5 volts straight to the CPU. So we'll have to keep that in mind. It's not going to be any fun if that's what's happened, but sometimes it does. James, I don't know exactly what the chips are off the top of my head, but it's more a case of just like, well, I recognise that this sort of area is going to be CPU voltage generation, particularly with the size of the inductors and the MOSFETs. So you kind of get a feel for what's being done around the place. And based on that, you can sort of go, oh, okay, you know, if the corrosion has taken out something, then the risk factor here is to cause some fault of a particular type. Ah, can't believe I missed that. Oh no, we have to go vertical board view here. No one ever does vertical board view. The Malmaki, well, I'll, interesting, there's a bit of metallic, it's almost, that's, what I'm going to be doing, Mal, is, I'll put the 12 volt in, not the 12 volt, I'll put the charger on. If we get 20 volts, we'll consider it. I've got a USB-C multi-port device, and we'll see if that comes up. That was a bit silly, putting that on there. Probably caused a bit of thermal shock then. I'm brushing this one away because the residue that was left there had a bit of a metallic sheen to it. Not that I'd expect it to be shorted, but you never know. Alright. Let's see, let's get our USB-C. Alright, USB-C. So here we go. I'm going to guess we get pretty much nothing. At best, we'll probably get 20 volt looping. Yeah, we've got nothing. Most definitely nothing. Which is kind of a good thing, because nothing means that something is probably shorted, and shorted means no. It's very weak and constantly restarting, so it came up 20 volts then. My guess is we do have some kind of a short somewhere. I'm just going to check a couple of things. Oh, I did get myself a new keyboard. I got one of the I'll just show that off. I got one of the compact ones. It's a 87 key one, cherry blue. Again, can't really get proper buckling spring ones, but you know. Mount, I don't think it was cracked. It just looked a bit mucky. Yeah, it doesn't look cracked to me. No cracks on that one. My guess is the short's up around here somewhere. It's... Oh man, we missed that there. Really not on the game today. Have to be careful because we otherwise will... This is underfilled, so we don't want to cook that up too much. Trying to get these off is a major pain in the backside. Okay, I'm gonna start looking out. So, yeah, the backlight section we're not really going to be caring about. That's what all these caps are. Oh, okay. These are actually boot ROM stuff. Things you learn. People often think that because you repair these things, you know what every part is, but most of the time you really don't. Not unless you sort of deal with a given part multiple times. Otherwise, you just sort of are reacting simply by what you see. You're like, oh, well, that looks messed up. Let's go fix that. Trying to find something that's looking particularly ugly. Maybe we'll try reflow those. Just a light reflow. I'm not actually going to replace them outright, but just see if we can clear anything from underneath them. Beginners channels, I'm not really sure. I'll leave that to some other people in the channel because it's not really something that I've pursued. I would have thought most of the, like Lewis and Jess are both definitely had a series of videos at some point where they like covered fundamentals to a degree. Depends on what kind of learning you're trying to do. Okay, why are you sticking so hard? You really just... You should have reflowed by now. Everything else is floating. That's got some major junk under it. Looks like it might have been Guinness, yeah. Now that did not budge at all, so I'm going to say we've probably got a bit of carbonite underneath it. Maybe a well-preserved Han Solo. Got a pad that's just died there. Well, this board's still smoking. Where are you smoking from, bro? Just put it in the cooling system. Hey, Warren Stamps. So which ones are these? These are the COOs. Alright. If you are buying things like replacement CD3215s, make sure you just only get the COO ones, not the BO3s. No one uses the BO3s anymore. Yep, definitely. That port's giving me 20 volt. It's the only port that's giving me anything. Okay, this one's come back up. That's struggling too much. We're going to take that chip off. This one that we could barely get off. I have less than great feelings about it. So much to the point where I'm going to use my hefty tweezers to get it off. What's on the tweezers, Paul? What do you mean? Other than just random junk. Now the risk we have here is, because we're going to have to manhandle this one, we're going to probably take out a few other components around it. Oh yeah. You had some toffee. And I keep forgetting to put my fume extractor on. Oh, the yellow thing. Yeah, that's just, that's what it came with. Just random heat shrink tube. It wasn't my personal choice, that's how it turned up. Let's put this in the cooler again. Ryan, this is an A20000840. Alright. Okay, so to get this toffee off, we're going to have to use our water alcohol mix. Man, that looks really like a bad next day stain. It might be repairable, but I don't know. It's probably not worth reballing that. Anyway, the water mix is just going to help me get some of this stuff off a bit better. It's only 20% water, but it makes a huge difference in lifting up a lot of the junk that typically gets on these boards. I have a feeling this batch of caps and resistors on the side here are going to need taking off. Now we're going back to the 100% alcohol. You can see we cleared it up pretty good there. Yep. Alright, now to clean up those balls. What are we up for time? 55. Gotta watch out I don't get someone turning up. It's close to midday, which means technically people can turn up here. Travis, I try not to let myself smell it. Fortunately, the fume hood does its job and keeps most of it away from me. Okay, now we're going to do a hot air wick. Hot air wick leaves us a very nice finishing surface. Right, now I need some CD3215s, which I actually have. Or should have. Yes, we do. We'll use some from the Rossmann supply. Did that one come out? Nope. There we go. The wick is tech spray. I do also use Goot wick. I tend to have multiple types, but in this case, we'll go. Whoop. Yeah, tech spray 18, 23, 25. The 25F is just the length of it. It's a 25-foot roll. The 18, 23. I think it's a 2.3 millimeter wide. So yeah, 25-foot tech spray. I'm pretty happy with how it works. It has a... Yeah, sorry, I just got my microscope up. It tends to have a better absorption behavior for the sort of work we just did. As usual, it's a case of, yeah, this is not brand new, but what do you expect? Yeah, just like different fluxes for different purposes, different solders for different purposes, you find that different wicks are good for different things. This is when you need 2 tweezers. It is infused with flux, most of them are. How do you read schematics? I think the trickiest thing with schematics is it's very easy to be overwhelmed by them, because there's like all these different wires going everywhere, all different names and stuff like that. Sorry, this is why I should focus on. But what you eventually work out is that with schematics, they're all usually predefined blocks. God damn, what's going on here? Too much flux, that's what. Yeah. Too much air. Probably zoomed in too far, a bit too close. Sorry, just give me a moment to concentrate on this. Okay. Yeah, with schematics, they're mostly made up of just blocks, of pre-existing blocks of known working electronic assemblies, and then you just have them all interconnecting with each other, like, you know, block A goes to block B. And so what you sort of try to do is break it down into finding out what those blocks are. Now with things like the MacBooks and a lot of computer stuff, those blocks tend to be one per page, so it's a bit easier. The harder ones are things like the older audio. Sorry, just yeah, I'm not happy with that reflow. See how this end pad here is dragged and that ball hasn't quite settled, so we have to go at that again. Yeah, the old analog type schematics, they were the hardest ones for me to read, where you just got dozens upon dozens of transistors in some sort of like stages, and then you get a whole lot of interconnect sections. So yeah, I found them to be the most daunting, whereas the digital stuff is pretty straightforward. You usually have a chip, the chip needs its various support components, and then you have your data lines going between each other. The ham radio, audio amplifiers, things like that, they're just nuts. But digital electronics, much easier, much easier. I'm glad I checked those balls before I committed too much. I'm a little worried I'm cooking things a bit. Particularly we've got an underflow chip right there. As long as I don't go spitting balls out of that baby. Let it cool off a bit more. Yeah, Wayne, that flex board view feature, that was sort of a bit of an afterthought, and yet it's turned out to be one of the most useful aspects of it. I've noticed that none of the other, how could you say, competing programs are doing it, and I'm not sure whether because they don't think it's worth it, or whether because they're afraid to do it because they know I'll probably come after them and go, hey, that's my unique feature. I accidentally did it first. Alright, so here we go. Oh man, come on Paul, get on there. Okay, we do have a coming up. Okay, 20 volts straight up. This one's also going 20 volts straight up. Okay, so it looks like we're having some success there. But we're not on this side. This is really interesting. That is intriguing. Neither of the ports on the bottom side fire up. But it's all controlled by those two. Yeah, 600 milliamp. That's usually CPU alive at that point. No, okay, it's changed its mind. It's still intermittent. It is getting up to 650 milliamp, so the CPU should be alive. It's flippable, but the thing is you do have different control lines, different data lines coming out of the flip, which is why USB-C connectors have so many damned lines on them. So now I've got to find out what's going on. Call me weird, but I feel like this isn't as bright as it should be. No, just gonna turn off that light. Because normally this display is quite noticeably bright. And now it's not even on. I'll try this one. No, it just doesn't. And it keeps resetting. Yeah, not good. Alright, still obviously got plenty of work to do. It's definitely dim. Strangely enough, it's not reporting it's not reporting abnormally high current, so that's what really throws me there. If it was dim and showing 3 amps or 4 amps, then I'd go, okay, yep, that makes sense. But to be dim and still only showing 650, that kind of throws me a little bit. But it does feel like something is more shorted than it should be, so at this point I probably should go looking at rails. I haven't set up a rail guide on this one yet. Oh, teach me. Pardon me. Okay, what page did you go on? PDF page 69. PDF rails. Add. It wasn't as bright as it should be last Sunday. And what? Oh, Ben, you mean all the Australian smoke drifting over you guys? Yes, I am in Australia. Do you have one for the 875? I don't think so. Is the 875 a copy of the 840 though? Yeah, I've got an 875. Let's have a look. It's probably the same file. Here we go. Nope, I do not know enough of... Nope, nope, nope. I recognise some of those characters. Fan Wang, Fei Wang. But not enough of them. Yeah, I am getting 20 volts, but it's quite dim and then it shuts down. And restarts. Then we get 20 volts again. And I'm only getting 20 volts on one physical side of the board, which is quite interesting because I would normally expect it. Yeah, it's just a little peculiar. And I'm really hoping there's no damage into this connector because that is a nasty connector to remove. Because the amount of heat you got to put into it, everything else starts floating. And yeah, you end up with a bad day very quickly with that scenario. I mean, you got these to worry about, and they will usually spit their balls out with that amount of heat. I suppose you can sort of physically cut the shield off, but that has its own issues. Well, I'll clean up some more bits and pieces, but I do have my concerns about this. Is there an active short? I'm not sure I'd consider it a active short. I would say it's just a moderate short, and it is impacting. I should really probably pull that one up and have a look as well, shouldn't I? Because if that one was choked with toffee, then this one probably won't be too dissimilar. It's kind of a pain having to remove chips that you don't necessarily want to remove. But, you know, that's what you get paid for. And of course, all the while, we don't even know if the screen and keyboard's okay. Because if they're no good, then this will probably become beyond economical to repair. There's a little bit of toffee there. It wasn't bad, but there was a little bit. Certainly not as bad as the previous one. Hey, Rob. Alrighty. The pad on the pad for the resistor that I'm meddling with on the bottom right doesn't quite look right. Sometimes it's been hard to tell if the resistor has integrity or not, and it can be even harder to get the resistor off your tweezers. I'm just going to see what value those resistors are. They're just 201 links. Okay, where did I put all my... Ooh, crikey, that's where I put them all. 201, 0 ohm. Wires, pin, resistors. You kidding me? Did I put them all the way down the bottom? 201 caps. I'm looking through my great big stock of things. 402 caps. What about you guys? Fuses? Nope. Funnily enough, a fuse is probably the closest thing to it. Yeah, it's 402 resistor, 02 cap. Maybe I put them in the 402 resistor box. If you hear a big crash, it's just everything falling down on me. Nothing to be worried about. Let's see. Yeah, looks like Mr. Daniels has gone and put 201s in with the 402s. So now I've got to see if I actually do have 0 ohm. Yeah, I think we do. Of course I could always just put a solder blob there. That would be a little bit of technically correct, ethically incorrect. I'm not saying that's part was going to be at fault or anything. It's more a case of I'm just going through and cleaning up what I can until I find what I consider to be truly a smoking gun. The 0 ohm resistors are also good as they're kind of like an additional layer. So there's plenty of times where you run out of layers on your board, or you want to make a fairly short jump, and they're very useful for that. Alright, let's do some more hot air wicking. Yeah, Rob, I know. I was thinking, I might have to refer to the grey book about that. Those damn bureaucrats. And my resistor lifted. That's okay. Doing itself a tombstone impersonation. There we go. And we'll stick another fresh chip on that. Yeah, no, there's a couple of little dibs and dabs there of solder, but not enough for me to be worried. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, they're both in the same orientation. It will lift the chips up. Not a lot. I mean, you look at the variations in, say, like an SMC reball when people use paste. I mean, if you're dealing with something like a Mason chip or something similar where you've got balls down to the 0.2 size, then you're absolutely right. But around this sort of thing, it's just... You watch, I'm going to end up looking like a complete jerk now. Okay, we're down. And we're good. I need a filter for the fan, yeah. Good luck getting that for the Linux version of OBS. But you are right. There are some things you have to there are some things you have to be pedantic about, and there are some things where you don't. And that's sitting fine. I mean, if people want to be that pedantic, then absolutely, more power to them. But in this case, I'm choosing not to, based on a personal choice. Yeah, those seem fine. I have a horrible feeling we're going to have to go under that shield on the other side. But I might be able to cheat. Cheat by throwing it in the ultrasonic, but then it still doesn't solve things long term. This thing is so sensitive, that's got to be the connector that's misbehaving on everything. There's going to be hell on earth underneath this. Let's fix up those Wi-Fi caps. Well, yeah, those little chips that you get, like, you know, on the iPhones, you get the 4-pin MOSFETs, little gate chips. I hate doing those things. Because they've got... yeah, they're just such a pain. You can't hold them stable or anything. They just go, oops. Okay, that is a nasty looking part. And so's the fumes. I should not be permitted to take the soldering iron out of the station without the fume going. Yeah, Wayne, hopefully we can get through this one without it getting to that point of being too much time. I should really check to see what those are for. They are... okay, they're just general decoupling for the Wi-Fi. Yep, need my overfill pick. And that goes straight through those parts and I can drag out that corrosion. Easy peasy. Very handy tool to have, those overfill picks. What about you? You're looking a bit sus there, buddy. Wayne, I guess maybe when I'm happy with it completely. Right now I'm sort of feeling like I still need to make various revisions to it over time. I mean, there's really nothing much to it. It's basically just the 8-inch, not 8-inch, good God no. Or is it? Yes it is, 8-inch, yeah. 8-inch hydroponic fan assembly with a HEPA filter system on the end of it. Which is far more trustworthy than my lungs. Just want to check this cap. Yeah, it's not beeping at me, but it is a little bit messed up. Sometimes you gotta check that your meter works. Oh, that burned a hole through itself there. I wonder if it's one of these at fault. A good resistor won't always be... No, not unless it's under about a... I think depends on your meter. Usually under about 50 ohms. Anyway, let's check that part. Is this the bit where... This is the bit where you find out that you don't really have an 840. Yep. Okay. Okay, let me show you why. Okay. See this part here? It's like 18 pin thing or so. When you go to the board view, that's where it should be. And there's nothing there. Nothing at all. I'll try with the 875. Yeah, same thing. Nothing there. So that makes it fun. Let's see if the donor board I've got here is one of the same. I don't have many of these boards. In fact, I think I've only got one. Maybe two. And I remember running into a fair bit of trouble with that particular part in the past. Just in terms of trying to get one. Tails. Oh, good. Usually you find if you go to one of those domain testers or email MX testers, they can check for you pretty quickly, because they will request a cache flash update, or an update without a cache. You're also going to have fun with setting up your SPF and your DKIM keys. That's always fun. SPF's easy. DKIM takes a little bit more work, unfortunately. And there doesn't seem to be a very easy way of setting up DKIM. This board I'm after is in here somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. Oh, there we go. Shoot. No! And yeah, this board does not have the chip up there. So the 840 board that we have available to us in the board views would appear not to be an 840. It's whatever that other one was that I pulled out. No great surprises there. Ahmed, the hot air automatically turns off. There's no need for me to turn it off. It turns itself off. As soon as you put it back in, it turns itself off. It's not one of those cheap units that just keep blowing hot air non-stop and burning out your element. The noise you can hear is the noise of the fume extractor. Tails, nope, I cannot give you an overview of the DKIMZ setup because DKIM setup because it was a pain in the butt for me to do, and I was just going by someone else's guide on the internet. So if you just Google for it, you'll find it. That one's definitely booting. Hey, Lethal One, how's it going, Anil? 600, 650 milliamps, 700. So yeah, that one would appear to be booting. But yeah, for some reason, when you put it on this side, nothing. And I can't get over how dim it is. Yeah, that's cooking my noodle. I'm thinking the board needs a swim in the ultrasonic, in all honesty. Yeah, I hope they weren't actually going through some of those pads. Pretty sure these are just test pads, as in they don't go anywhere other than just stopping dead where they are. Okay, we've got some junk under here. What do you do? Feeding your critters. Sonia's feeding her critters? Oh joy, the Boardview doesn't have those either. This is just marvellous. Okay, anyone got a real 840 board view? Yeah, it'd be nice if we had the... So we've got a pair of diodes there, and then they've been junked out. And then this contraption here is... Yeah. Well, Johnny, we've already sort of gone over with flux all the dud areas that they've got the corrosion, and if I put through the ultrasonic now, what it hopefully will bring up is it'll forcibly detach areas that have corroded through too much, or it will clear away the gum and junk that could be inhibiting things like under this one here. So I'm fairly sure though after I do that it's going to still have other issues down the line because of things like this. Yeah, it could be the protection diodes giving grief. I said it'd be nice to have a proper schematic. Board view rather, the schematic's fine. Oh, you went for a quick lift there. Sometimes an indication that something is wrong there. Might replace both those resistors. Yeah, I know there's no flux there. No need to tell me that. More than aware that I do not have the suitable level of Rossmann flux. Nor do I have the... That pad under there looks kind of like it's been eaten out. Can you get rid of that resistor? Yeah, the trouble with this board is that even if the ports look like junk, you kind of want to try and revitalize them because you do not want to be replacing that port if you can avoid it. Now we've got to find out what that end resistor is worth. Let's see, 7148. Power management enables CPU VCCR. Ooh, subtle. It's this one here. Fortunately it's 0 ohms, so we've got plenty of those. Now, Mal, which MacBook was that you had to endure the USB report replacement on? Yeah, Rob, I'm not overly keen on the USB-C system myself. I think it's a bit of a overkill for. I mean, I understand, but it's just making it so difficult. Oops. I guess I'm a sucker for the old days of dependable, but also still messed up serial ports. I mean, we can't deny those were a major pain at the best of the times too. You'd be like, I'm going to go and attach this serial device to this serial port and it should all be standardized, and then you spend the next 2 days trying to sort out the quirks. Or because the manufacturer made an assumption that didn't apply on your system. $15-inch from 5 years ago. I wonder if it was like a 1286 or something. Alright. Funnily enough, I mean, I started out USB, not USB, through-hole stuff, but I was never happy with through-hole. I always felt that it was a really annoying system. And so when USB came out, no, golly, I really need to get some sleep. When Surface Mount came out, it was a revelation for me. It was like finally sort of board assemblies that I can get used to. No more of this flipping things backwards and forwards. More flux is required. Yeah, I think the problem why USB-C ended up the way it did is because they had to try and appease so many different people. And so now you've got this rather convoluted standard, as it were. I mean, I'm sure it will end up sticking. I mean, it obviously has. But it was certainly a painful process. Alright, your factory work with board assemblies. The confidence runs low. Mostly because the caffeine's running low. Yeah, again, it must be one of the diodes or the signal lines for that side. Resistors, goodness knows what. I'll have to have a look at the schematic in more detail. Except now we're actually getting nothing. Anywhere. Seriously? We've gone backwards? Oh no, there we go. It's even dimmer than before. Still getting 20 volts though. I find this most perplexing. I really think this needs to probably go into the ultrasonic in all honesty. And if we're lucky, the ultrasonic might dislodge something. Let's try a bit of toothbrush ultrasonicking. But yeah, I may have to yet take that shield off, which is going to be a major pain. Because let's see, U2800, what do you actually do? Oh, you're the big fat thunderbolt, that's what. Thought I saw a chip next to the C1300 with small hole, second small chipset. Probably was more just a speck of junk, but I'll have a look. Oh, someone's getting high on the fumes here now. Right, so we had a mention of maybe a small hole. Maybe you were looking at just the pin 1 markers, like these. Yeah, do have my concerns about this glass chip here. Oh, I just noticed this, but this shouldn't probably do anything down here. This probably got more to do with the the lid sense. We're definitely corroded though. I'll have a look what that is. Bum, bum, bum. Uh, 5223. Alright, that actually could potentially cause... Yeah. Let's see. If we've got issues with this, it's a weak pull-up for the whole sensor left. And if that's broken off or something, then this will not have a suitable voltage on the line. It's just, there's no real current involved. It's more just pulling it up. Like I said, we call it a weak pull-up. It's 1 megabit. Mega ohm. But it's all you need for the sensing. So yeah, if it's not pulling up, or it's intermittent, but it feels fairly sturdy there. But you'd get different sort of behavior. It certainly won't be influencing the charge, the 20 volts or anything like that. But it may influence the CPU. Yeah, words are not my most, yeah. Not something I've really got command of right now. So that's supposed to be 1 meg. Showing 2 meg. Not that that would actually make a difference anyway. Still, 2 meg. Oh, you should always go... When you're measuring resistors in circuit, they should always... Yeah, there we go, that's gone. Be at least the value or less. Should never be more. Now the reason being is because that comes down to the resistors in parallel law. And when you have resistors in parallel, then the total resistance can never be more than the lowest resistance in the parallel set. It's been a real pain trying to... And if I try to hot air this off, it will take that off. So this is going to be fun. Chris Long's busy being successful. That's why he's not around at the moment. He's so successful that he decided to back off from having 2 stores and went back to just the one. There was no need for him to there's no need for him to drain the American pocket any more than he already was. So yeah, Mr. Successful. Hot tweezers would be kind of convenient at this point, but not that convenient. I can get in here and do what I got to do. I mean, I did the... But there goes that pad anyway. Let's see. I wonder if I can fit a... What size is that meant to be? I did the long screw damage with the JSO2 tip, so I'm pretty sure I can do this with what I've got. Okay, you're at 201. We can probably drop a 402 into there, actually. 402. But I doubt I've got a 1 meg. The diameter of the tip is a 0.2 millimeter. Ah, I got one Meg 201, so it looks like the universe is telling me to use that. But I'll double check anyway. Yeah, good on Paul, don't? Is it 2K2? No. Oh well. With pull-ups like this, where it's a 1 meg, you probably could easily get away with anything down to about, honestly, 40k, 50k. It probably would not make a difference. Because in many cases, they're just, there's no real load on the line. It's just simply a very lightweight pull-up. I suppose the only time it could be an issue is if this whole sensor didn't have a strong pull down, and in that case your strong pull-up would in fact stop it from signaling that detected a lid shut. Grease Monkey, I don't really know much about ThinkPads at all, so it's not that I don't want to answer, it's just that I can't answer for the fact that I don't have the information. Not to mention there's like, what, a couple of hundred ThinkPads, so it's pretty hard to answer anything about them. You're better off running off to Bad Caps and seeing what they can offer. Yeah, resistors basically, for the most part, fail by going open. And that's what this one did. Well, actually it wasn't the resistor, it was the pads. Okay, that's one side done. This is definitely easier than trying to do the long screw damage the other night. Some resistors can short, not too many. Depends on what if they're designed to do that. See, the thing is, normally once your resistor shorts, it usually just kills itself pretty quickly after that. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna try see if I can reflow that. Just going right on the edge, and the fact that I've got leaded solder will help. Okay, that's all I wanted. Where should I order my Amtech flux? In Queensland. Swiftwick, I get mine straight from Rossman. Okay. Okay. These are the ones that don't work. Still no worky. Nope, no worky. This is going to be difficult without a proper schematic, I think. Without the proper board view, rather. I'm almost certain it's something to do with this here. Or it could just be a hell of a lot of junk under here, in which case I'd put it through the reflow, ultrasonic. Yeah, there's a pad missing in there. So I'll see if I can take that off and have a look at what nightmare I've got. Lewis nearly got into a punch up? What the hell? What do you mean by that? Normally he runs. Not because he's scared, but just because he's sensible. The damn thing's not coming off, and I'm hailing some awful fumes from that metallic foil. Oh, that's nasty. That actually was nasty. Gross. I don't know what was in that, but that actually, yeah, really not nice at all. I gotta get this off. I'm almost certain there's a pad missing down there. Then, actually, has anyone got another one of these boards and can verify? I'm fairly sure I can see a recess in there. Maddie, it's a homemade one. It normally isn't a problem, but that stuff, whatever it was just extra powerful. Some mighty powerful ugly. Yeah, there's a pad missing there. So maybe we'll just move a little closer to the extractor. Try that again. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take that off, rebuild that section. Lewis' problem is he listened to the internet comments. Everyone is a critic. Well, yeah. I guess it's up to him to do what he wants to do. The trouble is, how do you verify who's worth listening to versus who's not? Because everybody's going to come up and say, I've done this and this for so long and I know what I'm doing. And so you take the risk and you go, alright, okay, I'll trust you. And then you find out that it was the worst thing you could have done. You're going to have to get in real close on this and what's the bet? That was just an NC. Actually, it probably wasn't. It probably was a 3V42 or something. It's Thunderbolt under that shield. So yeah, it's part of it. Come on, pad. I'm going to get really upset if this pad disappears because it looks like it goes straight to veer. It's either NC or goes straight to veer, I'm not sure. I suppose one way we can find out is if we can find this chip. So is this? This is a P13 USB 32. Now you can definitely tell that pad has had power going through it and chewed out. That's not just a normal It's actually destroyed the chip. You can see... Let's see if I can bring it in. You can see that the corrosion has eaten its way to the inside of that chip. Well, that's going to be a pain because I do not have a replacement that I know of unless it's available on another board. It's a little hard to get it perfect, but there you can see a little pinhole in the pad. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to see it. You prop it up onto something. Random block of metal. It's a little bit too glitzy now. Anyway, yeah, so the pad's gone and the actual chip pad itself is gone, like the metallic part, and the bonding wire that goes into it is also gone. So that kind of puts us up the creek. Let's see if Boardview can give us another board with this part. Since we can't get it from the yeah, so what have we got? 3 USB 32. We'll go with that combination. Search, find a part. 3 USB 32. Fortunately, the search is a partial. Okay, so the 850 has it. Order one from Apple. Sure, I'll make it 2. And I'll be curious to see what that pin actually does. I'm guessing it's a power pin. And then more to the part, what does that part actually do? If we look at the schematic for the 850, it'll probably tell us a bit more about what's going on. Ah, 1521's got it as well. Okay, so I've only got 2 boards that have it. So the 850. Which pin was it? Okay, if we roughly assume... Yeah, we can't assume anything. Okay, there's pin 1 down here. Okay, and we can tell also because it's got the little chamfer cut out. Pin 1... Damn it. I need more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12... 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, pin 20 quite possibly. Pin 20, and yeah, there we go, right at the top. That's our supply line. So that's why that's chewed out. And what does this chip actually do? Looks like it's all more about extra, some sort of a mux. Okay, I'm gonna Google that. Oh, here we go. Ahmed's found it. High bandwidth switch, specifically. Okay, it's a MUX. Yeah, designed for switching of high-speed USB 2 handset to consumer applications. Yeah, so it's part of the control circuit. So it could be explaining why we aren't getting activity on one half. So kind of maybe could be influence in the communications. It's certainly something we're going to have to get replaced. And I don't have any of those boards. Can I even get those chips? Guess we'll find out. Yeah. So we kind of hit a bit of a dead end here because I do not have a donor that matches that. At least I'm not sure of it. I'll check that other board, but I don't think that was an 850. That was an earlier incarnation, I think. So hopefully I can order them, otherwise I'll just have to order a complete board. Complete replacement 840. It's a bit of a bummer. It seems to always happen though, doesn't it? Digikey's got them. Rob, cool. Let me see if Element 14's got them. Because if Element 14's got them, then I'm set. Da, da, da. Let's see. PL3 USB 32. PL3 USB 32. No, unfortunately, Element 14 does not seem to carry that one. Alright, what about RS Australia? Yeah, no. Okay. No luck. I might have to just get some donors. I'm not sure I can really justify. Well, I suppose I might have to. Mal, yeah, in Australia, it used to be called Farnell and they changed it to Element 14. Carbon, as it were. I'm sure they had their reasons. Oh, there's my tweezers. I was wondering where they went to. They fell into the abyss of the board. Oh, there it is. I need to keep these boards that I've only got one of in a separate section. Oh, it's PI. Oh, whoops. My bad. I'm not sure if... I don't know what board this is. I'm trying to find out if it's one that does have it. Or if I see it before I find out. It doesn't have it there. You're an 875. Yeah. Bugger. Alright. Alright, well at this stage I think I'm going to have to just set that off. So it's not truly a good fix yet, but I guess there's not really much else I can do until I replace that chip, because obviously that chip is influencing things somewhat. But we do seem to be having the CPU does seem to be coming to life, so that's a good thing. So I'll see if I can find that. So search Google for that. Okay, mouse, Digikey. Oh, okay, Digikey Comac U. I can use the Australian Digikey for that. Can't believe Element 14 doesn't have them though. That's annoying. Oh well, doesn't matter. Sorry, silicon. Yeah, not carbon. No worry. I knew when I said carbon that I was off the wrong bat there, but yeah. Welcome to the power of doing streaming, where your brain becomes completely useless and you say all dumb things all the time. So brilliant stuff. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, so I have to go find those parts. There's nothing else really for me to do in the queue today, so there's no point in me progressing any further with this. I suppose, if you like, we can see if the CPU does fire up, but maybe things won't even work now because I've taken that chip off. So probably best I don't find out until I get a replacement chip. If you're not getting 20 volts in some specific positions, this is likely unrelated to USB. Anton, it's interesting. It's I get 20 volts on both ports on the top side, but not 20 volts on the bottom side. So it's a little quirky. Yeah, we'll replace this chip anyway, since it's clearly got a fault in it. It's not getting any power, and we'll take it from there afterwards. So there's no point sort of like going much further until I can eliminate one fault that's distinctly clear, and then we'll chase it beyond there. I might put it through the ultrasonic in the meantime. We'll see. Maybe I'll just wait till the parts come up. So anyway, I'm going to try and get some coffee or some sleep. I'm not sure which, but I guess we'll see how it goes. But thank you everyone for sticking around. I appreciate it. Certainly feel free to like and share, as always. And if you are doing board repairs, then have a look at Flex Boardview for doing Boardview work. It does make things a lot easier for you, and if you only do maybe 1 or 2 jobs a month, okay, then Open Boardview is probably fine. But if you do more than that, have a look at Flex Boardview. Okay, I'm out of here. You'll take care. Watch out for the bunyips. Don't let them drag you off to the pits. And watch out for those dingoes too. I'll see you next time.